Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the 518 Talks podcast. I am your host, William Rivas. And y'all gonna get a gift today because we're doing 2 episodes one day. You saw the first episode a little while ago with CEO of Forever Bro Clothing, Mr. Rob Dobbs. But right now is one of the most important things that we can do, and it is highlighting some of our local youth. Mr. Jeremiah Davis and Mr. Chris Davis, how you guys doing today?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
Excellent. Thank you guys. I'm glad to have you. For the people that know what's close to my heart, empowering and engaging with our youth is one of the most important things. So when I heard about who you are and some of the stuff you guys are doing with your clothing brand, Love City, I said immediately, like, no question, schedule don't matter. We're going to make it work because it is very important that we as individuals get out the way and create the platform and give you guys, the youth, the access to be able to be great. So really just talk about yourselves and how do we get to this place where we're at with Love City Clothing?
Well, really, we're trying to get to a point where there's like younger kids and the younger generations are like having types of resources and like wanting to know what their success is and like having like those options or opportunities to get to where they want to go in life. So basically it's just like keep supporting each other, like loving each other and all that stuff, and just like growing strong as a community as well.
All right, wait. So somewhere, how old are you?
16.
You guys are both 16.
Yeah.
You guys came up with this idea for this Love City Clothing.
Yeah.
And your reasoning behind this is you want to make sure, you want to empower youth to find the resources accessible to define their own levels of success. Am I correct?
Yes.
Adults, if you're paying attention, listen to what these 2 young men are saying, right? So when you hear this, it is important that you, again, get out of the way. It's not about the adults. Our youth are sitting here telling you that they want to have access to resources to define their own measures of success. These 2 gentlemen are 16 years old and they're telling you this. So you see this wonderful gear here at Love City, make sure you cop some. So my question is you guys are 2 local kids. You guys both from the Schenectady area?
Yes.
So for people who don't know who Jeremiah Davis and Chris Davis are, I mean, get us acquainted. Tell people about you. A lot of people are going to listen to this. So tell them about who Jeremiah Davis is. Tell them about who Chris Davis is.
Well, Jeremiah Davis is a very loving and supporting kid that loves to see people grow and love to see like them like have success. And I love like the energy I give off of people, like the positivity, and I just want it to be to the point where everyone in the city just has love for each other. There's no hate or negativity, and we're just watching and loving each other and just watching people grow.
Are you running for mayor?
No.
Are you running for any political office? Did somebody prep you? I did not prep this young man before he got here. All these words that he is saying is strictly from him. So this is absolutely 100% authentic in what you're hearing from this young man. Pay attention. Mr. Chris Davis. Now, I've been watching you for a couple minutes. You know what I'm saying? Jeremiah seems like a real cool, calm, collected. But with you guys are twins, right?
Yeah.
You seem a little bit different. Introduce Chris Davis to the people.
I'm more of like a joking kind of guy, you know.
I could tell.
Loving, and you know, that's really just me for the most part.
So, I mean, for people to really understand Love City, what I like to do, the reason I created this platform, 518 Talks platform, is I wanted to create the opportunity for people to tell their story. I didn't want to tell it for them. I don't feel like that's fair. I feel like it's unauthentic for someone to create something and to tell someone else's story. In the next 20 years, the revitalization of Schenectady will tell a story of the history of Schenectady. And the thing is we as an individuals, we have the opportunity to tell our own stories ahead of time. So really, like, behind the term Love City, and it's something that you both really alluded to as you guys were both talking about yourself. You both said that you're loving. And the thing is I don't think a lot of times that us adults, because we think we know everything, a lot of times we don't think that our youth are as loving or as compassionate or as caring as that. So I mean, what makes 2 16-year-old kids loving?
What makes 2?
Yeah, there's something.
I mean, I think it just like the like atmosphere I was around like all the time is like there'd be so much like good going on, and then like something would just go bad, which makes everyone think that Schenectady is bad, which is not true. And I always want to get my point across saying how good Schenectady is instead of how bad it is. And most people that are not even from here.
Wait. So you mean to tell me? So you mean to tell me that all teenagers are not selling drugs? Wait. You mean to tell me that all teenagers are not having guns? Wait. You mean to tell me that all teenagers aren't fighting?
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me Schenectady's not really that dangerous? Wait, you guys are 16-year-old kids. You're not in trouble? No gangs, no nothing? Now, I wonder, right? I asked that question because, again, I'm from Schenectady, and I hear a lot of the same stories that you do.
Yeah.
And I fight this perspective all the time, and I try to show people that. And again, what I really love about what you guys are doing is, I have never met you guys prior to today. I just met these young men today. And the beautiful thing is right now, as you're telling your story, you're telling people exactly what the truth of our city is that, one, everybody that comes from poverty is not a bad person. All our kids are not just ruthless and angry and mean and destructive. Our kids are very talented, they're extremely creative, and they are phenomenal and amazing and on point. I gotta ask you a question, because this is gonna make a lot of people upset.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, I'm trying to make you upset. Pay attention. So, what do adults do that sometimes slow the growth of youth?
They push them away from their ideas.
Say that. When you say that again, I want you to look at. I want you to say that so the people that are watching can hear this.
They push them away from their ideas.
So adults, again, we're hearing a young man from the community who's coming from a similar background to a lot of us, because a lot of us come from poverty. They started a clothing brand, they're doing good in school, they're great kids. You hear the language and the authenticity and what they're talking about. And the one thing they're mentioning specifically is adults can stand in their way because they don't do what?
They don't open up to our ideas.
They don't open up and listen to their ideas. Chris, I need you to chime in on this. Really, is what your brother saying true?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that. I would just say like some parents, they let their kid grow up too fast, and the kids don't have like a chance to like dream or like be what they want to be.
Wait, are you saying kids still want to be kids?
Yeah. Like,
No. Wait, hold on. If I could stop and pause this and restart again, because I'm totally confused. Because based on what the media says, our kids are just absolutely unruly. Our kids still want to be kids.
It's like there's times where they have to be forced to grow up early.
Talk about that.
Well, like kids, when they don't have resources to like really be kids or just like have like a dream or stuff, they have to get up early, have to do stuff that adults would do at a young age, which makes them feel like, okay, there's no point in me trying to be a kid now. I just might as well grow up right then and there. So that kind of just blocks their ideas and their dreams that they had away and just go into like a normal life.
I tell the kids that I work with at the Cocoa House and my youth volunteers, Justice Jackson, which you know, I talk to him, and something I believe, I absolutely wholeheartedly believe, is that kids are the most innocent, pure form of change because they're unadulterated and unmanipulated. I can take kids and I can stick them on the move, and they're gonna find a friend, a game, and a snack. They don't care what the Martian looks like. None of that matters. I think what happens is as you become adults and you have experiences, that changes the way you view things. It alters. And what happens is we as adults, a lot of the time, in our infinite wisdom, we therefore pass a lot of our negative experiences and bad information onto our kids.
Yeah.
We create a lot of barriers and misbelief in our youth because, if we didn't do the work to achieve a certain level of success, then we make our kids believe that they can't achieve that certain level of success. So instead of pushing them and motivating them, and here's what I tell all my kids know, it is not my job to define success for you.
Yeah.
What my job is to make sure that you have the resources and opportunity and support necessary to define success for yourself.
Yeah.
It's not my job to be like, oh, Chris, you're tall, you should play football. That may not be what you're interested in. So I really love what you're saying and just in establishing the language specifically for the youth, where you're saying, no, we're creative, we're loving, we pay attention, but y'all really be jamming us up with the nonsense, and really like talk about that. How did you find your way navigating through all these things? Because in Schenectady, so there are some bad things going on in the city. There are some crime. There is some violence.
That's in every city.
Everywhere.
That's everywhere. Everyone has a point in time where there's down. Everyone has a time where there's violence going on. That's everywhere.
Wait, so you mean that people shouldn't believe the report that says Schenectady is the fourth most violent city in the world? People shouldn't believe it? Holy hole in the donut, Batman. Because every time I see stuff like that shared, I always ask them what Schenectady they're talking about. So, I mean, again, at this point, I really don't want to say much more. I want you guys to just tell people, as youth coming from the community, how you navigated your way to where you're at through these different things, through these different trials and tribulations, and how you got to Love City and what's next. I'm gonna stay out your way.
Well, how I got here is, just like experience in the high school and just in the city itself. Like I always go in the summer, there'll always be like things at Central Park and like there's like things going on for kids to do, and like there'd always be like that moment of like, wow, like Schenectady's really doing good, and like we're at a certain point in time where like this could be like good for the kids, and then something just goes sideways, and then we get defined by what goes sideways and what wasn't going on in that moment. And for me, that really just stuck with me because it'll be like a repeating circle every time. And then like I feel like in school, there's kids that like have so many like ideas like in their mind, like, wow, I wonder if I could do this. But then there's teachers like, it's gonna you probably have to go years into college to do this, or you have to take a long time to do that, or it's like not possible because of where you're at now. And it's like you're blocking their success or their ideas and dreams before they can even like really get a process of what they want to do and who they are as well. Because people can be like, there's people in like the school are like, well, who am I? Who is this? Like, what do I want to do as a person? Like, what do I want to do for like just anyone in general? And then there's people that are just like, nah, I don't. Dang, the kids they're doing their thing. It's Schenectady. They say it's Schenectady, which to me it's like, what do you think Schenectady is? Because I've been living here for 16 years now, and I think Schenectady is a loving and supporting community, if it wants to be, honestly.
Chris,
Well,
I can't say it no better than that.
Schenectady to me is just like I don't know, like yeah, like stuff happens, but you know, like everybody goes through stuff, like family or whatever the case may be. So like, I mean, I wouldn't say like anything bad about it or anything. Like, we're definitely not the number 14. You know, like I don't know what I mean, but like life in Schenectady is just like it could be if what you want it to be if you make it. Like sometimes it's just like kids' dreams get crushed, or like there's always like we never get to hear like the positive things in the stories. It's like always maybe like you have to have this amount of money to do something, or like resources to do this, or like so it's just like I don't know.
And then like the worst part of it is, it's like there's people that do motivate and come back to Schenectady and try to help motivate, and then there's people that have been here like putting them down, like negativity, and it's just like they've already.
Nah, listen, I'm talk your talk, brother. Talk your talk.
Like, there's people that have been sitting here all their life and hasn't stepped out of their comfort zone, which makes people think like you can't do anything. But
He talking to y'all. I hope you listen. He
you
talking
can
to y'all.
always do something with your life. It's like you're not stuck in like a chain or anything. You could always just go out if you feel like you want to do. Like if you feel like you want to go to the moon, okay, study, do what you want. Think of ideas of how you can get to that place or that certain type of like situation you want to get to. And it's like there's always an opportunity for somebody out there when they think there's not. And I feel like with adults now, they need to express that more to kids instead of bringing it down to them. It's like, nah, it's like you can't. It's like you can. When they're like, you can, but there shouldn't be a but to it. It's like, you can do this, you can do that. Because then it'll give kids an idea like, okay, my teacher believes in me, so I think I can do it.
I preempted this by saying a couple minutes ago that this podcast is going to upset some people, and that I intended it in that fashion. Because what's very important is for the youth to have their voice defined by them and not by us. And as I listen to both of you speak, what I understand very clearly is that regardless of your circumstances, you have made a choice. Listen, you have made a choice to not be defined by what other people think Schenectady is. And that is phenomenal. And the thing about that is that we need to have the opportunity, and I'm very thankful that I have the opportunity to sit here to listen to you guys myself, because me telling people this, which I have been for years, doesn't mean as much as you telling people this. Because this is coming directly from the youth, two young men who have been here for 16 years. You're 16 years old, you're juniors, right?
Yeah.
You know, you guys are still going to be in school next year, so it's not like you guys are sailing off into the sunset and won't be in Schenectady. Oh, this is a great conversation, but we're leaving. No, you guys are still going to be here. You guys are still invested into this community. So to hear you two speak so eloquently and so passionate about your own experiences, and that's the thing I really want people to understand about this is not a guided conversation. This is you guys talking about your specific interactions, your experiences in the community, your voice, your opinion, and how you see things. And this conversation is going to make quite a few people uncomfortable, because a lot of people are not ready to hear that, hey, as mom and dad, or as community leader, or as politician or business owner, as adults who believe that they know everything, I may be standing in the way of my youth's growth. So my question is what's next for Love City?
What's next is just grow. The more we grow, the more things will come, and more dreams will start spreading, the more ideas will start coming. It won't just be Love City. Someone else might have a clothing brand that will come out. We can help them out. It's more just like supporting each other instead of breaking away from each other.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. Like, let's say we do get it, and then maybe like we want to be able to help the next person, help them become us or a better us, so that they can do the same thing and just go from there to there to there, and it's like a forever thing, really.
Because at the end of the day, we're all coming from the same place. And we all have feelings, we all have emotions, thoughts. And the only way you can bring out your thoughts is if you have a vision. And most people now don't have visions because people stop them from having a vision. So our main goal right now is to get people to have a vision for this brand, chase their dreams, and just success in every single way possible.
I'm not sure about you at home listening or tuning into this episode of the 518Talks podcast, what you may have gotten from this, but if I was you, I would reach out to the youth in our community, sit down and have an open and honest conversation with them, listen, allow them to speak, and assist them in receiving the resources necessary for them to achieve their dreams designed by them and not by us. It did frustrate me for a very long time to understand this, because I work very closely with youth from the community. Justice has expressed this very thing to me on several occasions. So in my mind, what I've been trying to do is fight for this for him. And listening to you guys, I understand that that's not my job. My job is to be there in support of you guys fighting for this for yourself. And I thank you guys for coming by and being honest and being open and sharing who you are and, the inspiration. I'm not sure you guys really understand how important what you're doing is. And maybe it's just one of those things where as youth, you guys are just so genuine. You never really took it into consideration on how your perspective could be something that could inspire the world. Because something that's very keen to this is that there are cities like Schenectady across the world. And there are youth like yourselves who seek this inspiration and motivation, and they're not getting it. They have that drive, they have that vision, and like you said, people unknowingly, and adults, it's very important to understand this. I don't think what they're saying is that you're intentionally standing in their way. I think what it is sometimes we're so protective of our youth, like we just unintentionally cause unnecessary blockades and barriers. And what it sounds like you guys are telling us is, get out the way. We could, okay, there's some stuff going on, like Chris said, there's stuff that goes on, but we make decisions to do different. And it's not to say that there are not situations or there are not negative factors or that by starting a clothing brand that all of a sudden life is going to be just everything works out. No, it sounds like you two very much so understand the situation and are committed to the work, to being great and to being inspiration. Is for that, I absolutely applaud you guys and all the work that you guys are doing. I almost don't want to end this podcast because there's so many things to tune in. So here's how I'll end the podcast. I'm going to offer you both free tickets to my show tonight and next Friday. And also, I'm going to ask that you two come tonight dressed and ready to do this presentation in front of a room full of adults. Gentlemen, Mr. Jeremiah Davis, Chris Davis, I appreciate you guys. This is William Rivas' 518Talks podcast. I really don't even know what to say to you that hasn't already been said. I would challenge you to find a youth the moment you hear this and sit down with them and have an open-ended conversation with them, and for you to just listen. That is really your challenge for today. 518 Talks podcast, love city, support the movement. Thank you guys for tuning in.